Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 28th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today has been a good day. Dare I say, a great day. A little sleepy. I didn't really get enough sleep today, or at least last night. But overall, it was solid. It was we've been moving and motoring. Um, let's see here. Where do we start? Well, I'll start with the top of my day. Like I said, woke up I don't know, around like 8 o'clock ish in the morning. I was trying to get to Micro Center, so that was the plan. But I was like super tired, so I kind of lagged out and didn't get out of the house till like maybe 9:30 ish, whatever. But we get moving finally. I hadn't eaten last night, so we can go ahead and just cover food corner right now. I went and had a McDonald's breakfast. I had an order of hotcakes, a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel, and a sausage McMuffin, and a hash brown with a large sweet tea, and then I left with a large Coke. Overall, it was good. It was one of those meals where I was like, I like this, but I know I'm gonna regret it later. And sure enough, that's just how it was. I was literally at the gym and like my innards just felt like, oh, this hurts. So yeah, I don't know. Is what it is. It's a McDonald's breakfast. I hadn't had it in a while, so it was kind of nice in that regard. And plus, I just didn't really know what I wanted to eat. I just wanted to kind of get some food and kind of go. So that was a move. That was a motion. Let's see here. What else is there to really? Oh no, hold on. I got to Micro Center, right? I was like, yeah, I'm missing an important part of my day here. I went to Micro Center, and of course I'm nervous. I'm trying to like, do this on a budget. I'm trying to get a new laptop. That's the move. That's the operation. Luckily, this was a super efficient shopping experience. I love that. There was like a guy who was available. He walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, you doing okay? What are you looking for?" And I just say, "Hey, I'm looking for a laptop in this price range." Much like the car. And he goes, "Okay, how about this? How about that?" I'm like, "I'm flexible." And he goes, "Okay, cool. How does this sound?" And he shows me like an Acer Aspire, I think T something. Let me look over real quick. Aspire 3 uh, 15. There you go. That's what this computer is. That's what the laptop is. Now, I'm not recording on that right now. I didn't fully get it uploaded yet or updated, like all the stuff, but it's nice. It's working. I got all my games and stuff on there, so that's cool. Feels good. It's nicer in some ways, but also weirdly, like, just because it was like an economic, computer, laptop, whatever, it's missing some things. Like, it doesn't have a backlight, which is like, that's a bummer, but I can live without that. But yeah, overall, I'm excited. I'm hype. Nice to finally have my three screens back. So, I'm fully immersed in my media. I'm watching all my live streams. So yeah, it feels good. Let's see here. Then after that, I went to the gym. Got super duper sweaty, which was really gross. But hey, it was a good workout. I feel like I'm getting the free weights down, and I'm not hurting my back now. Like I have a good routine, maybe? Question mark. So I feel good about that. We'll see how that goes. I will keep you posted. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll go ahead and get into some news. Ooh, had a little burp there. A little McBurp. I gotta say, it's been a pretty successful holiday season for sure. We're closing out the year pretty good. I feel good about it. I'm getting that nervous feeling about the money. Usually, like I like to get my like Christmas bonus and any kind of Christmas cash, and I like squirrel it. I kind of hoard it because I know how bad things can be. But we had to kind of take some moves, roll some dice a little bit with the car, and then with the laptop going down, or at least kind of accepting that I couldn't fix it. So I was like, yeah, let's make some shit happen, and I feel like we did. So once again, fingers crossed, knock on some wood. We made 2025 a very cost effective year. We make it work, and we have a good time doing it. That's the hope, right? So here's to that. Let's go ahead and do a startup. We'll get into some news. Oh boy. Ooh. Breathe. All right. All right. From the BBC. UN health chief at Yemen airport during Israeli strikes. The head of the World Health Organization, or the WHO, and other UN staff were at Yemen's international airport in Sana'a on Thursday during Israeli airstrikes, which are reported to have killed at least 6 people. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said they were about to board a plane when the attacks began. Houthi-run Saba news agency said 3 people were killed at the airport and 30 injured. It said another 3 people were killed and 10 wounded in the western Hodeida province. The Iran-backed rebel group described the attacks, which also hit power stations and ports, as barbaric. Israel's military said it was carried out intelligence-based strikes on military targets. But it's crazy that you're hitting an airport saying that is a military target. But, I mean, hey, whatever. Okay. It is unclear whether the fatalities were civilian or Houthi rebels. Okay, all right. I guess that's definitely an important thing to mention, even though it's like this isn't an operation you would think would be okay. But, I guess, all bets are off when you're Israel. I don't know. In a statement on X, Dr. Tedros said he was in Yemen to negotiate the release of UN staff detainees to assess the health and humanitarian situation in the country. He provided no further details about who the UN detainees were. Referring to the strikes on Sana'a's airport, he said the air traffic control tower, the department lounge, just a few meters from where we were, and the runway were damaged. We will need to wait for the damage to the airport to be repaired before we can leave, Dr. Tedros added. Go ahead and scroll ahead. In a statement, the Israel Defense Force, or IDF, said its fighter jets conducted intelligence-based strikes on military targets belonging to the Houthi terrorist regime on the western coast and inland Yemen. It targeted military infrastructure at Sana'a's airport, as well as the Hejaz and Ras Kenatib power stations and sites in the Al Hadawada, I'm going to say that, Salif, and Ras Kenatib ports on the west coast, the IDF said. In comments shortly after the strikes, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said it would continue to cut off the terror arm of the Iranian axis of evil until we complete the job, adding, we are only just starting with the Houthis. Early on Friday, the IDF reported that 1 missile fired from Yemen was intercepted before crossing into Israeli territory. Though I want to fast forward to a thing that took place last week, and it's something I feel like I missed, and I feel like it's definitely a part of what spurred on this activity out of Israel, though. I mean, they've kind of been at it because more or less, like, the Houthis are kind of the last standing, at least for right now, with Hezbollah kind of more or less getting clipped. The situation in Syria is being very muted because of the change, the regime change and everything like that, and the rebels focusing on that and not doing anything else, really. And really now being in a place of like, hey, we don't want any problems. We're trying to reestablish ourselves. And then Iran, they're doing the backing, as of course media likes to remind you and everybody. But at the end of the day, I mean, they've also had to take, casualties on their own, sustain some own, damage from Israel. So really, it feels like not like they're the only ones, but I feel like that's kind of the last big target right now for Israel, at least one that they want to focus on. Did I just read this or not? I'm just going to reread it. A Houthi missile strike injured more than a dozen people in Israel last week. So, I mean, and I want to emphasize, too, that this was something that it injured people, it did not kill. Not to say that makes it okay. It was intended to kill. But I think that that's kind of the point where this is looked at in Israel like, oh, you escalated us, so we can now go and blow up everything you care about. Like, everything is free. Everything is a fucking target. And it's like, is it though? That doesn't feel right or okay to me. It doesn't sit well to me, but at the end of the day, I mean, we know how this shit goes. We've covered it time in and time out, so I'm not surprised to see this shit, but, I definitely wanted to cover it. But yeah, let me go ahead and move on to the next beat. It is still Israel-related, between Israel and Gaza. From CNN, Israel arrests hospital director and other staff in raid on last functioning facility in northern Gaza, health officials say. Israel arrested a hospital director in a raid that closed the last major functioning health facility in northern Gaza, with its forces also accused of ordering patients to strip in the streets. Kamal Adwan Hospital is now empty after the remaining patients, some of them critically ill, along with caregivers and health workers, were transferred to the Indonesian hospital in Bethlehem, the World Health Organization said. The facility has come under frequent Israeli fire in recent months, and its closure exacerbates a dire humanitarian situation in northern Gaza. The whereabouts of Kamal Adwan's director, Dr. Hussam Abu Safia, and other staff are unclear, friends and colleagues say. We do not know the fate of Dr. Hussam. He was actually threatened by the army as soon as they arrived at the hospital. A nurse from Kamal Adwan Hospital, Raya al-Basht, told CNN. I'm going to say Bashtish. I don't know, but that's probably wrong. But the Israeli military acknowledged Saturday it detained Dr. Abu Safia, saying he was suspected of being a Hamas terrorist operative, which is just such a loose, vague association to me because they've done this time and time again where it's like, oh, you're colluding, you're conspiring with Hamas, you might as well be Hamas to us. And it's like, at the maybe the very like worst, that there have been Hamas operatives that maybe have been operated on in this hospital. Like, that's according to the IDF's association or description of it. It's just so loose and it's so vague all the time. And if you don't put a spotlight on these kind of moments and these kind of situations, these people will get lost in a shuffle. You never hear from them again, and it's terrible. That's not how this shit should go. This is a hospital rector, and you were shutting down one of the last hospitals, or like I think the last hospital they said. It's like you're leaving this place with nothing, and then continuing to just assault it, and all in the name of self-defense. It's something I know I sound very redundant here, but we've talked about time and time again. But I would be remiss to not cover some stuff like this. Also, there's another part to this that's really upsetting and unsettling. On Friday, Dr. Safia said in a post on social media that Israeli forces were besieging the facility and issuing orders for its evacuation. Multiple nurses have said staff and patients were then ordered to leave the hospital and gather outside. Once outside, staff and patients were separated by gender, and both men and women were told to remove their clothes. 2 nurses told CNN. Those who refused to remove their clothing were beaten. Sharouk Salih al-Rasinti, I know I'm getting that wrong too, mea culpa, a nurse working in the laboratory, said on Friday. After hours of being held, they were forced to move to the nearby Indonesian hospital, the staff said, a facility the WHO has described as destroyed and non-functional. Some patients said they asked to be transferred to the Indonesian hospital, but were not allowed. They told us to sit down. After gathering everyone, they made us strip down to our underwear in the cold. Abu Rahman Ryan told CNN, adding that a significant number of people were detained and injured. Patients were beaten. There was no limit to the beating. They struck people on the head with hoses. They dragged 3 people at a time, including an injured person with a cast, and beat them on their heads, added Rayan. They spared no one, not the injured, not the elderly, not the children. There's just nothing humane about any of this. And, even to the point where really they don't have a comment. The IDF said it helped evacuate staff and patients. Oh, no, that's not where I want to go. I'll just read the whole part. Staff and patients ahead of the operation, later adding that an additional 95 patients, caregivers, and medical personnel were taken to the Indonesian hospital to maintain and operate essential systems. I mean, that's just a number they're throwing out, and I mean, I'm sure that they can verify that number of 95 people. That doesn't mean it was everybody. Asked by CNN about the allegations of strip searches and beatings of patients, as well as if they had evidence to claims against Dr. Abu Safia, the IDF said it had no further comment. And to me, that's fucking damning, dude. Like, You can say, oh, we did all these things. We did this. Check, 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 check. We did everything on the level. But when you're asked about this shit, you have nothing to say. You don't even want to lie, or at least on this shit. Because you know that there's evidence out there that disputes it and would dispute you and call you a fucking liar. So you go, okay, yeah, no, we just won't say anything. Because we don't have to. They don't have to. And it's crazy that they don't fucking have to. So yeah, I mean, there's more personal stories that they cover here in the article. I will say that for the more avid readers here. But yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. Like I said, I feel bad anytime where I have a lag and I don't cover this shit. But I know it's important to get back on it, stay on it as best as I can. So I mean, that's just a part of this podcast. You know what I mean? I definitely don't see it changing in 2025. That's for sure. Because I mean, you just can't look away from this shit. That's just how I've seen it. That's just how I square it. And I know that I'm just a small bean motherfucker. What I say and blather on about here, it doesn't matter. But I just feel like it's important to be at least on a side on this kind of shit and really just say the shit when you see it. I don't know. Like, that's all I know I can do, at least at this point. But that being said, let's move on to some other news from CNN. Another stowaway is caught on a Delta flight this holiday season, raising major concerns about airport safety. Yet another stowaway managed to board a major airline's plane, renewing serious questions and concerns about airport security during the busiest travel season of the year. This time, a stowaway tried to hitch a ride on Delta Airlines Flight 487 at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport on Christmas Eve. The unticketed passenger was discovered while the plane was still taxiing out for takeoff to Honolulu, Delta Airlines told CNN. The Transportation Security Administration and the Port of Seattle confirmed the incident to CNN. The incident came less than a month after another stowaway boarded a Delta airplane Thanksgiving week. That unticketed passenger made it all the way from New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport to Paris before she was eventually arrested. Honestly, she's lucky to be alive in that situation. And on Christmas Eve, a body was found in a wheel well of a United Airlines plane shortly after it traveled from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport and landed in Maui. Whew, that's not how you want to go. Hiding in a plane's wheel well is the most common method used by stowaways, the Federal Aviation Association said. Stowaways often get crushed when the landing gear retracts and oxygen levels plummet as a plane reaches higher altitudes. In the Seattle incident, the stowaway went through a TSA security checkpoint the evening before the flight, but wasn't holding a boarding pass, an airport spokesperson told CNN. The next day, the person gained access to the loading bridge without a scanned ticket at the gate, Airport Media Relations Manager Perry Cooper said. Once the person was discovered, the Airbus A321neo returned to the gate to remove the unticketed passenger, Delta said. Let's see here. I mean, there's just more blah, blah, blah. I'm going to call that fluff, and we can just go ahead and move along. I didn't know about the other two, or I guess you say three, right? TSA or stowaway situations. I was like, God damn. So I figured we can just kind of bundle them all here in this one article, talk about it real quick. I know for me, I'm not a big fan of flying. I've done it once. I know I've mentioned this before. It was a thing. I was glad I did it, crossed it off the bucket list. Cool beans. I'm sure in the future someday I will fly or get on a plane again. It's not like I'm afraid of doing that. I really don't like traveling, y'all. But that being said, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I get it. Desperation can make people do crazy things. But I mean, if I'm in Seattle and I know it's rainy, it's maybe a little mopey, it's whatever, I'm sick of all the coffee, whatever, and I want to get to Honolulu, I want to go to Hawaii, I'm gonna either just save up the money or just not do it, because you're not catching me on the wheel well, literally being a stowaway. That's crazy to me. The stowaway just feels like such an old world word, like just a word from another time, like a stowaway on a boat or something. That's what my brain initially thinks and jumps to when I hear the word stowaway. So the idea of people like hanging on in the wheel well of a plane or something like that and getting access. Like you would think, and it's mentioned in this article, it definitely is a black eye on like the Delta, security. Like how did this lapse happen? Y'all got to do better for sure. But yeah, you just wouldn't think that this would happen. You know what I mean? And I mean, I guess even in the busiest time, maybe that's like the best time to find the kind of holes in the security and make it happen. I guess I don't know. But yeah, definitely crazy situation. Would not advise it. Pro tip: just don't do it. Just don't be a stowaway. The odds are not in your favor. House is usually going to win. They're usually going to get you. Or maybe they don't get you and you die. So don't do that. Don't do it. Anyway, I'm going to go take a water break and then we'll get into the story that, I don't know. I felt compelled to tell this. We didn't have to cover this one. This one sometimes, I just do it for me. But yeah, let me go take it. Let me get a little water. Ooh. Okay. From the BBC. Cracks appear in MAGA world over foreign worker visas. Supporters of President-elect Donald Trump clashed online over a visa program intended to bring skilled workers to the U.S., showing possible cracks in the incoming administration. Vivek Ramaswamy, tapped by Trump to slash government spending, claimed American culture is to blame for U.S. firms deciding to hire skilled foreign workers, which is typically done via H-1B1 temporary worker visas. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence, Ramaswamy wrote, in a long X post that argued that foreign workers improve the U.S. economy. The post attracted backlash from Trump supporters who are strongly opposed to immigration of any sort, causing Ramaswamy to clarify his position. I just love that these motherfuckers are just getting into the fucking muck and mire of the swamp that they are trying to drain and realizing that it's like, yeah, dude, you're gonna have to fucking capitulate to this fucking angry mob that got you here. Like, it's not going to work exactly the way that you want it to. And, once again, someone's going to have to, bend the knee here. And it's probably not going to be Trump, and it's probably not going to be these angry people who want to say and be the most racist pieces of shit. But let's continue. Taking American culture, Ramaswamy originally wrote, a culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian, the top student in a class, will not produce the best engineers. And this is a weird trope that him and we're going to get to Elon Musk try to use, where they try to break it down because they I know I'm talking to dummies here, so I got to take you to high school. And it's like, these analogies don't work, and they're just going to make people more mad at you in the fucking comments, dude. The replies are just going to go off on you. They're just going to do tricks on it. This doesn't work. At the end of the day, you're not changing their minds. After being pillaged. And the thing that's funny here is that I do agree that immigration does make America better. It is what we are founded on. The clusterfuck of a problem here is they want specific immigration for certain types of people who they think are going to be, hey, we can put them in the tech sector, hire them out for fucking cheap, and it's good for us. And we're going to tout this as we're getting the cream of the crop from other countries and putting them in these really good jobs, and it's making America better, and it's all for the good. And it's like, no, the conservative right, especially on the hard conservative right, all conservative right, no, they don't like that, sweetheart. They're like, nah, boo, get all the brown people out of here. We hate them. That is their vibe. They do not care, bro. They don't like what you were selling. After being pilloried online by anti-immigration Trump supporters, Ramaswamy returned to X to post that he believed the H-1B system is badly broken and should be replaced. So, aka, he just gave up the school shit and just said, all right, yeah, it's bad. Boo. I'm with you guys, actually. Boo. This shit sucks. The disagreement led to a row over the holidays as mainstream Republicans and far-right influencers joined in criticizing Ramaswamy and other wealthy figures in Trump's inner circle. If we're going to have a throwdown, let's have it now, prominent Trump supporter Steve Bannon said on his War Room podcast on Friday. He went on to call the Republican claims of support of the H-1B program a total scam. But Ramaswamy's perceived view of skilled worker visas was backed by Elon Musk, a tech billionaire selected to co-direct Trump's proposed government of Department Efficiency, or DOGE. Musk defended the H-1B visa program as attracting the top 0.1% of engineering talent. Thinking of America as a pro sports team that has been winning for a long time and wants to keep winning is the right mental construct. So I got it wrong here. He didn't necessarily say college ball or high school ball. He was just talking about pro sports. But once again, you're trying to break this down for them, and it doesn't matter how you try to spoon feed this to them. They do not want it. They are anti all of it. They do not care. You're not going to reason with them on this issue. Musk then shot back at contemptible fools, saying he was referring to those in the Republican Party who are hateful, unrepentant racists. They will absolutely be the downfall of the Republican Party if they are not removed, he wrote, which he's writing all this on X, the Everything app, his app, formerly known as Twitter. He later swore at one of his critics and said he would go to war to defend the visa program. It's like, bro, why are you posting it's crazy, dude. It's crazy that these are the kind of posts that help put a person in power in America. It's wild. It's just, we live in a strange world and strange times. I mean, not the strangest. I won't say that. I won't say the craziest, but it's just weird. It's just weird to digest it sometimes and think about it. You've seen that guy. This motherfucker's on a Wegovy Gundam build, and he's not providing anything to anybody, and people will call him a genius. All because he put a lot of money and he just slushed it around and got lucky sometimes. It's a good joke. It's a good joke. I'm sure Rockefeller loves it. He's just like, what a funny game we're playing here. You're like the new me. Nikki Haley, Trump's former ambassador to the United Nations and a former Republican presidential candidate, became a prominent voice arguing against Ramaswamy and Musk. There's nothing wrong with American workers or American culture, she wrote in a response to X. All you have to do is look at the border and see how many want what we have. We should be investing and prioritizing in Americans, not foreign workers. Haley, who, like Ramaswamy, was born to Indian immigrants, was joined in opposition to or joined in opposing the visa program by far-right accounts online. Here we're going to get to our favorite. Laura Loomer, an anti-Islam activist who regularly spreads conspiracy theories, but is also known for her unwavering support of Trump, led the online charge with posts viewed millions of times. Earlier in the week, Loomer criticized Trump's choice of Siram Krishnan, a Indian-born entrepreneur, as the White House senior advisor on artificial intelligence. Loomer wrote that Krishnan was a career leftist who is in indirect opposition to Trump's American First agenda. Cheered on by far-right X accounts, she also called Indian immigrants invaders and directed racist tropes at Krishnan. I love that. I love that she can just say that on a thing on social media, and it can just get liked and bumper stickered, retweeted, whatever. They can add on to it. It's so good. It's such a good thing, social media. I do love that. Look, I am a defender of social media, but it's these moments where you just see this shit and it just feels so gross and it's just so draining. Loomer then accused Musk, who owns X, of censorship for allegedly restricting replies to her post on the network and removing her from a paid premium platform or program. So it's crazy. She literally loses her blue check over this, but it's really not because she's pushing racism and xenophobic shit. It's really just because she's against Musk. And because of that, Musk goes, fucking kill the feed, bro. Fucking take her shit off. And, she loses reach. She gets more or less shadow banned or what have you. Essentially really hard because it's to literally say, hey, I don't even want your money anymore. You lose your status. That's funny as fuck to me. Because Elon Musk just made such a fucking big old fucking spectacle about, hey, you can say whatever you want on here. You can be racist as hell. I'm not going to stop you. But if you say, pronouns or something, you're done. You're cooked. But it's essentially, if you're in opposition to him, you're not going to be able to have as much reach on the platform or make as much money on the platform. Really, that's what it kind of comes down to. Other, I guess, alt-right influencers have been saying the same thing, and they've been moaning and whining about that. So I love it. This is really like a MAGA civil war taking place out on X, I guess now the multiverse. So hell yeah, you do love to see it. Let's see. Is there anything else I really wanted to pull here? Nah, I think we're good. No, I think we're good. I don't want to talk about this shit anymore. I'm fine. Let's go ahead and close it out. And we got to talk about some eye drops. And we got to talk about another recall. You'll never guess what it is. Yeah, I don't think you will. I mean, we haven't had one of these in a while. Well, been a little bit, I would say. But yeah, let me go ahead and take the last break, and we will get into it. Ooh. Also wanted to add weather-wise, surprisingly warm winter day, 59 degrees or so. I think I even saw it hit up to like 62. I was like, man, that's nice. That's for a Midwesterner. It's balmy. Anyway, CBS News. Systane eye drops recalled due to potential fungal contamination. So yucky. Look out. One lot of Systane brand eye drops were voluntarily recalled due to possible fungal contamination. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced earlier this week. The affected packages of Systane lubricant eye drops Ultra PF single vials on the go were recalled after a customer complaint of foreign material observed inside a sealed single-use vial, the FDA said. The material was determined to be fungal in nature. So that's very icky. It's very yucky. The eye drop recalled used to treat treatments of dry eye were sold in 25 count on the go single vials with lot number 10101 and an expiration date of September 2025. Fungal contamination of an eye product is known to potentially cause eye infections. So no doubt about that. If an infection occurs, it can be vision threatening, and in very rare cases, potentially life threatening in immunocompromised patients, the FDA noted on its website. Alcon Laboratories, the company that manufactures Systane, has not received any reports of adverse events related to this recall. Customers who have the recall drops should stop using them immediately and return to the place of purchase for a refund or replacement, the FDA added. If you have experienced any problems that may be related to using this product, the FDA advises contacting your physician. If you have any questions, you can contact Alcon Laboratories at 1-800-241-5999. So yeah, definitely watch out for that if you're using those. I definitely get it. I every once in a while I will use eye drops to kind of clear my red eyes, situations. Sometimes you just get a dry eye, with season changes, whatnot. So yeah, definitely like, oh my gosh, you just open up a fresh pack and the next thing you know, you got crazy stuff going on in your eyeball. So yeah, it's definitely no good. So closing out there, a bit of random news, just because we literally just covered it. I didn't want to double tap on it hard. Putin has come out and apologized for the plane incident that happened with Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan and all that. So that tends to kind of say, now he didn't actually come out and say, hey, our air defense systems did this, but it is looking like, hey, they were either trying to shoot down a Ukrainian drone in that airspace or something to that effect. And essentially they wound up popping the airplane, and that's why it went down kind of the way it did. Now, we don't have any full evidence on that yet. We're still waiting on the black box stuff, all that, yada, yada, yada. But I felt like that was a relevant development, and you also have seen that from, like, I believe the prime minister or president from Azerbaijan has more or less kind of come out and said something to that effect. It's very, like, going up into the point of saying, yeah, we know what happened, but not, pulling a finger at Russia, because, like, hey, we're all trying to be allies in this situation. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of mention that. I know it's kind of on the way out, but I figured why not. Also, Trump is trying to, step in the way of the ban. He's trying to negotiate a ban not a ban for TikTok. He's trying to save it. So I wanted to throw that out there. He's at least asking the Supreme Court to delay on ruling. So we'll see. I mean, that's his Supreme Court. He practically built that shit. Lego style. Clack, 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 clack. Anyway, that's it. That's really all I have. I'll stop there. Let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to YouTube for free. That really helps out. Leave a nice comment. Sharing is caring. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.